We have partnered with a world-renowned RF designer. They have looked at our network, they've looked at what's the most efficient placement and the best location for these towers. The design that we have is so solid.
Being able to place your network where you have designed your network means that the customer will have faster data. The customer will communicate better, which is ultimately what the goal should be.
We are ready. Turn us on.
As Bahamar CEO returns to China, the labor minister discusses the resort's repeated opening delays. What a foreign prosecutor thinks of the Bahamas' witness protection program. Plus, music superstars Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett to take the Atlanta stage tonight. We've got those stories and a whole lot more. I'm Vonique Toot, and NB12 Weekend starts now. Tonight, despite increasing uncertainty over the fate of the $3.5 billion Bahamar project, Minister of Labor Shane Gibson insisted the developer will get it right. His comments come as Bahamar CEO Sarkis Ismailian returned to China to meet with their partners over issues preventing the property from opening. We understand Ismailian is hoping for a late September opening, but there is no confirmation from Chinese officials on a completion date for that project. The opening has been delayed 3 times. However, Gibson insisted that with a project of this magnitude, there are bound to be setbacks.
Everybody would like to see Bahamar open right away. That's a $3.5 billion investment. You know, you're bound to see some delays. You know, and so I think they'll get it right, though.
The opening was originally set for December 2014, then March 2015, then the first week in May. Last month, Ismailian informed staff that the property had canceled reservations and reassigned more than 1,000 employees from their original positions to jobs that needed to be done within the resort.
But whatever they're doing, my hat's off to them, because at the end of the day, you know, if they got people employed and paying them, that's good.
Prime Minister Christie has said repeatedly in recent weeks that he expects the matter to be resolved imminently. Ismailian publicly criticized the government on April 15th, telling members of the business community that Bahamar has been developed with less than ideal support in a less than best-in-class business climate. However, Gibson insisted the Christie administration has delivered on all of its promises to the developer.
Off the top, I don't know of anything that we promised that we didn't do. Right? I know that the persons from the Ministry of the Investments are meeting with them on a regular basis, where they're trying to just cross all the T's and dot all the I's. I mean, you know, one of the issues we have is the golf course, right? Where they are still waiting for the actual lease to be executed, right? Before they conclude with whatever arrangements they made with the government. And so, you know, but they are meeting with them, iron out all these things. And at the end of the day, once it's completed, you know, you'll have a AAA rating product at Bahamar.
While addressing the second annual Bahamas Chamber of Commerce conclave, Ismailian said everyone must be concerned about the unfulfilled promise to provide a reliable power supply, gaps in necessary education and training programs to better prepare workers, and difficulties in doing business in the Bahamas. Amid reports of increased witness intimidation, public prosecutor and supporter of the No Witness, No Justice program in the Turks and Caicos Islands, Clement Joseph, is offering suggestions on how the Bahamian government can combat this problem. Jasmine Brown reports.
Officials say witness protection is not only an issue here in the Bahamas, but one that is also faced by other countries in the Caribbean. And it's for that reason they insist it must be a regional approach.
The main problem expressed by throughout the Caribbean, we don't trust the police, we don't trust the system, the police are corrupt, and it's a recurring theme.
It's that lack of trust coupled with fear of retaliation that is keeping many witnesses off the stand, according to Joseph. The public prosecutor, who has served in the U.S. Army and prosecuted cases in Dominica, is now stationed in the offices of the Director of Public Prosecution in Turks and Caicos. While acknowledging that the Bahamas has made significant headway to protect witnesses by enacting laws that allow video testimony, Joseph says that's only part of the solution.
Recently, we had a murder trial in Turks and Caicos Island where the 4 eyewitnesses refused to testify. But thank God, through circumstantial evidence, we were able to overcome that. But it's not going to be that way in every case. You're going to find some cases where no circumstantial evidence, where eyewitness evidence is all that we have, and we cannot proceed.
Given the size of the Bahamas, he says officials should take a serious look at creating partnerships with other countries to protect witnesses, as he says it's hard to hide witnesses in relatively small communities.
So we cannot take one person from Nassau and send to Freeport, because everybody will know who he is. And it's the same for all. I mean, you look at the Turks and Caicos Islands, we've had to send prisoners who have cooperated to other places to serve their prison time. And so the witness protection program is not, unless the larger nations like Europe or the US, Canada, unless they cooperate with us, the witness protection program is almost dead on arrival.
In 2010, then Minister of National Security Tommy Turnquest insisted the small size of Bahamian communities have hindered the government's witness protection program. Then, days after the 2012 general election, new Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage said a major factor hampering results in the crime fight is the reluctance of witnesses to come forward with information. In 2013, Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson said there were increased reports of witness intimidation during trials of accused gang leaders. Maynard Gibson said despite these intimidation tactics, there are laws in place to protect witness identities. However, Joseph says an effective justice system is only as strong as its weakest link.
Anywhere that you have a failure in any chink of the armor, that you're going to have a problem. And then crime will never be solved that way. It will never be reduced, rather, that way. Because when you have witnesses who see crime happen and refuse to testify.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Prominent pastor Bishop Simeon Hall says hundreds of CLICO Bahamas policyholders are prepared to protest if government fails to address this lingering issue in the near future. Policyholders have hoped for a resolution for 6 years since the company was liquidated.
To be frank, we all are disappointed that nothing specific has been said about CLICO in the current discussion going on the national budget. However, we remain optimistic that before the debate ends, something concrete will be said.
Nearly 200 people, many of whom are policyholders, met at New Covenant Baptist Church earlier this month to discuss the way forward. Hall says they are anxiously awaiting resolution.
Recognize that the government is challenged with monies, and so is everybody else. But I think it is a bit, 6 years is a long time for someone to ask you to be patient when your money has gone out of the country through no fault of yours. And so my understanding is that there are about 300-400 persons who are ready to march on Parliament.
There were approximately 13,000 Bahamian policies when CLICO was liquidated. Shortly after, then Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham advised policyholders to continue to pay on their policies, but they say they still do not know the status of their investments. Minister of State for Finance Michael Halkita said recently government was still finalizing a plan to assist policyholders and had not made provisions for them in the 2015-2016 budget. Still to come, music superstars Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga prepare to take the Atlantis live stage. Find out more after this break.